It begins in the spring of 1924.
A year that still carried the lingering shadows of the Great War. Britain
Was trying to shake off the weight of loss.
with people looking for diversion in cinema halls, jazz clubs, and seaside resorts. Against this backdrop of a society craving lightness, one of the darkest,
Most grotesque crimes of the interwar years unfolded, a crime so chilling
so macabre,
that newspapers of the time splashed it across their pages in horrified fascination. It would become one of Britain's most sensational murder cases.
the story of Patrick Mahon, the charming, confident man who concealed
A gruesome crime by dismembering a woman and hiding her remains in trunks. To understand this crime,
We must first step into the world of Patrick.
Herbert Mahon, he was not the stereotypical villain.
Born in Liverpool in 1889,
Mahon grew up in an environment not particularly marked by hardship or destitution.
his family background was ordinary, respectable even.
Yet from a young age, Patrick revealed a talent for deception.
He was clever, articulate, and knew how to present himself.
He had an easy manner with people, particularly women.
This charm became both his tool and his weapon. Mahon was a man who couldn't hold down stable employment. He drifted from job to job.
Frequently reinventing himself with new names and new stories. He was a man addicted not just to lies, but to the thrill of the con. He had already been in trouble with the law.
Several times before the crime that would make him infamous.
He had been imprisoned for theft, fraud, and passing bad checks.
In prison, he learned to perfect
His role as the smooth talker who could wriggle,
out of tight situations.
but perhaps the most important,
Element of Mahon's character was his inability.
to commit to women.
He was married to a woman named Doris, but that did not stop him from having affairs.
Patrick's affairs were numerous, often overlapping. He cultivated relationships with women by presenting himself as a man of means.
A romantic rescuer.
It was in this context that he crossed paths with a woman named Emily Kaye.
Emily was a 38-year-old music teacher from Eastbourne.
She was independent, cultured, and perhaps somewhat lonely. She fell under Mahon's spell in 1923,
After meeting him in circumstances that are not entirely clear, but
likely linked to his business, dealings, and social circles.
to Emily, Patrick seemed to be a man of refinement.
Someone who promised her both romance and stability. She began a relationship with him,
Never suspecting the dangerous world she was stepping into.
By late 1923, Emily discovered she was pregnant with Patrick's child.
This fact complicated everything. Patrick was already married, and
Emily's pregnancy was not just a personal issue but a social scandal in that era.
a woman bearing a child out of wedlock in the 1920s.
Faced harsh stigma,
And for Patrick, the potential exposure was disastrous.
Emily wanted to secure her future with Patrick, perhaps even marriage.
Patrick, however, wanted to escape entanglement.
In early April 1924, Patrick Mahon lured Emily away for what she believed was a romantic holiday,
He had rented a small bungalow called Officer's House at Eastbourne,
not far from the sea. He told Emily that they would spend time together there.
away from prying eyes, planning their future. Emily went with him, hopeful and trusting. What she didn't know was that Patrick had already prepared for murder. What happened inside that bungalow
Over the Easter weekend of 1924 remains shrouded in mystery.
Patrick later gave conflicting accounts.
At times, he claimed the killing was an accident.
The result of a quarrel spiraling out of control.
At other times, he hinted at premeditation.
What is certain is this: Emily Kaye never left that bungalow alive. After her death, Patrick faced a terrifying dilemma.
He had a body in a rented house, a house he would soon have to vacate. He couldn't simply walk away, so he set about disposing of Emily in one of the most grotesque ways imaginable. Armed with crude tools, including a coal hammer, a saw, and knives,
Patrick dismembered Emily's body inside the bungalow. He boiled parts of her flesh on the stove. He packed remains into trunks, boxes, and suitcases. Some he hid around the house, others he tried to burn in the fireplace. The small seaside bungalow became a chamber of horror.
its rooms filled with the stench of decay.
Neighbors noticed strange smells, but in those days, people were hesitant to interfere. Patrick, meanwhile, kept up appearances. He was seen leaving the bungalow at times, even engaging in casual conversation with locals, all while Emily's remains lay inside. His plan might have succeeded had it not been for a railway-left luggage clerk.
Mahon, attempting to move some of the gruesome parcels,
Left a trunk at Waterloo Station in London. The staff, suspicious of the foul odor, eventually alerted authorities.
by then, Patrick's web of lies was unraveling.
Detectives began to trace his movements, discovering the rented bungalow at Eastbourne.
When they entered, they were confronted with a scene of almost unimaginable horror. Bloodstains,
Body parts, and signs of dismemberment. The discovery made national headlines. The trunk murder case, as it was dubbed, horrified the public.
newspapers spared no detail, describing the grisly finds in sensational terms.
The bungalow was immediately christened the House of Horror Forensic.
Experts pieced together what they
Could of Emily's remains.
trying to reconstruct her final hours.
Patrick Mahon was arrested soon after,
At first, he attempted to charm his way through interrogation.
but the evidence was overwhelming.
His trial, held at US Assizes in July 1924, gripped the nation.
The prosecution laid out the grisly details. The defense tried to argue that Emily's death had been accidental.
That Mahor had panicked and tried to conceal it, but the jury saw through his lies.
The verdict was swift. Guilty of murder. The judge, Justice Avery, passed the ultimate sentence. Patrick Mahon was to hang. On September 3, 1924, he was executed at Wandsworth Prison.
As the noose tightened around his neck,
The charming conman who had lived by deception met his final reckoning. The Patrick Mahon case left a deep imprint on British society. It exposed the vulnerability of women who placed their trust in men like him. It demonstrated the power of forensic investigation and public outrage in solving crimes, and it left behind an image that haunted the imagination.
a seaside bungalow filled with trunks and boxes, each concealing the remains of a woman who had simply believed in love.
Even today, nearly a century later, the case retains its chilling fascination. It stands as one of the grimmest stories of betrayal, cruelty, and the darkness lurking beneath a polished exterior. This was the tale of Patrick Mahon, confidence trickster.
Adulterer and murderer, a man whose final deception ended not in escape, but in the hangman's rope.
Thank you for watching Crimes Through Time.
If you found this story haunting, hit the like button and subscribe for more dark chapters from history. And tell us in the comments, do you think Mahon planned Emily's murder all along? Or was it truly a crime of panic and desperation? We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, stay curious, stay safe,